And with that in mind, I would like to yield 3.5 minutes to my colleague and friend who is an Army veteran from the state of Michigan, Mr. Rogers.
The gentleman is recognized for 3.5 minutes.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I want to commend Madam Bodeo on the work on this bill. And it does sadden many of us that we have to come here today and talk about an issue that is so pressing, an issue that affects 310 million Americans. And it's hard to find that time to get out and talk about that issue that will take away health care from millions, that will tax the health care for millions, that will raid the Social Security Trust Fund, that will actually cut $500 billion out of the Medicare budget. But there are things in this bill that I think the other side does not want to talk about that's in here. And that's exactly why we feel compelled to come here to offer amendments at the Rules Committee to get this thing at least where the American people can have some faith that you're going to have an honest debate. The number of sweetheart and sleazy deals in this bill, the bill that this chamber will vote on tomorrow, is sickening. It pits one American against another American. It pits one neighbor against another neighbor. And it happens time and time and time again in your legislation. If you're a retired UAW worker living next door to a retired tool and die machinist, guess what? There's a special provision where you get offsets for the increase in your premiums for a UAW worker, but the tool and die machinist gets nothing except a higher tax bill. It's wrong. It was a special provision tucked in this bill. If you're a senior citizen in Florida, here's a special provision that says your Medicare Advantage stays intact. But if you're a senior citizen living in Ohio or New York or Michigan, guess what? Not for you. You get treated different. You lose your Medicare Advantage. It's wrong. It's sleazy. It's un-American. If you're a UAW worker in Michigan, you're going to get a higher tax on your insurance plan. If you're a longshoreman in New York City, you don't pay the higher tax on your insurance plan. It's unseemly, it's sleazy, and it's wrong. These are provisions tucked into this bill we can only assume to get to the magic number to pass on this floor. You know, if you're a banker in Michigan, you no longer, after this bill is passed, will be able to make a private student loan. That's right. But if you're a banker from North Dakota, guess what? You'll get to make a private student loan. It's un-American. And each and every one of these sleazy deals ought to be brought to this floor and eliminated from this bill. We'll have that opportunity at Rules Committee. We'll see the commitment of this chamber to be honest and transparent. Not to mention the fact that we'll stop the Social Security raid to pay for a bill that's $1 trillion to the deficit. And do you realize, Madam Speaker, why the impact of this is so important? Because this administration has had more deficit spending than every other president of the United States combined. It is shocking and it's breathtaking. And the arrogance of this chamber to bring such an un-American bill with special sweetheart sleazy deals tucked in and arm twisting to make it happen is wrong. I know that the soldiers I served with fought for a unified country, a country that believed in liberty and personal responsibility and limited government. I know that today we ought to stand for that too. And we ought to ask all of this to come to light and put those amendments as a part of the bill and clean up our act in Congress.